All right, today we're talking about building a pitching delivery capable of throwing 100 miles an hour. If you want to throw 100, you need to have elite separation. But here's the thing, I'm not gonna just give you the general advice of,
oh, fire your hips through, keep your shoulders back.
because that's just not what you need. What you need is to understand exactly what you can do in your pitching delivery to create elite hip to shoulder separation and how to actually implement that into your pitching delivery.
By the way, I'm Josh Guest and I co-founded the Pitcher Lab. I played 7 years of professional baseball where I got up to 98 miles an hour, and now I'm training to throw 100 miles an hour, so I think about this stuff all day. Now, if you need help with gaining pitching velocity, first link in the description. You can book a call with us and we'll see if it's the right fit for you.
So here are the 3 components I think about when I think about separation in the pitching delivery to throw in the mid-90s and beyond. So when most people think about hip to shoulder separation, what they think about is getting their hips through while keeping their shoulders closed. And this is the end result that we want to get into. But the problem becomes if you're trying to feel that in the pitching delivery, then it's probably too slow. When you actively feel your hip turning and opening while keeping your shoulders closed, it's probably very, very slow. And with hip to shoulder separation, it's more about the timing and how violent it is and how explosive it is rather than how much you get, right? And so there are, biomechanical studies that have shown that guys who get a bunch of hip to shoulder separation can still throw really slow if they don't time it up or if they can't explode out of it, right? And so it's more about the timing of it rather than the amount of it. Okay, so the first thing would be stop trying to get as much hip to shoulder separation as possible because it's more about the timing of it. And the other thing is, if you're actually thinking about rotating your hips and keeping your shoulders closed and everything like that, it's probably too slow. And so that's just not the way you want to go about creating separation in the pitching delivery. Creating separation a lot of the time should be more subconscious, right? And so for me, how I think about it is I made the big mistake of, I'm going to try to feel my back leg really rotate through and keep my shoulders closed and throw. But I actually started throwing a lot harder when I started to think more about, it's more about just shifting my weight from the back leg to my front leg, okay? It's not about, I'm trying to rotate or anything like that. It's more about, I'm getting all of my weight from my back leg onto my front leg. And just by doing that, you're naturally going to be able to rotate your hips and create that separation. And the biggest thing with that is that you're not actually trying to create the separation, which is the big key. You don't want to try to force separation like this because it won't be timed up and it won't be as explosive. You want it to be more of a subconscious, like explosive thing, okay? And so how I kind of think about it is, like we've talked about before, you want to create this drift, right? You want to get some linear momentum going down. And then with the back leg, you're getting that burst of energy. And now all you're doing is shifting all your weight to your front leg, okay? And now what this does is you'll be in something like this, where your hips are starting to open. They're not completely open, but you're in a good spot to be able to fire, right? And the rest of the rotation is driven by the front leg and the front leg bracing, and this just pops the hips open. And it's pretty athlete dependent. Some athletes can, hit with their front leg and then this rotation continues to happen and that's what actually drives the front leg. But for me, how I like to think about it is I'm getting into this good position and then this front leg is just gonna pop open the hips, okay? That front leg block is going to pop open the hips, creating that separation into the throw, okay? And so all I really want to think about is, I'm shifting my weight from the back leg to the front leg, and then the front leg block is going to do the rest. And in terms of the upper body, there's nothing consciously that is happening. It is more just about staying relaxed and quiet with the upper body, right? Because you don't want to force counter rotation, because if you're going this way, that's not where the energy has to travel, okay? You want to stay quiet, relaxed, and then go through the target. So in terms of actually rotating and getting that separation, that's the majority of it, right? It is the weight shift from the back leg to the front leg, You're getting that burst of energy down the mount, and then you're getting it onto your front leg. And if you have a good block, then it's gonna pop open the hips If you have a quiet, relaxed upper body, then that's going to do its job and create that separation, right? Without you actually thinking about, oh, I need to rotate or do any of this stuff, because the end goal of it is to actually throw as hard as you can toward the target, right? And so if you're doing all these like rotational drills, then like you're never going to be able to actually convert that rotational energy into linear energy going forward. If you really want to throw hard, you know, mid-90s and beyond, even throw 100 miles an hour, then you need to be able to stop that rotational energy and actually convert it into linear energy, right? That's the end goal of this. And so that's why I don't like these drills about, oh, just rotate, because it's just missing the point. And that leads me into really nicely into my next point, which was you need to be able to convert this separation into linear energy, because 80% of pitching velocity comes from the separation, right? The hip to shoulder separation. But the other 20% comes from how well you're able to convert that into linear energy toward the target. And so it's cool if you can create like a bunch of separation and you just freaking rip it. But if you're not able to actually track toward the target and, you know, turn all that rotational energy into linear energy, then you're just not going to throw hard, okay? And so the last part to this is, yes, we're going to get the weight shift, right? We're going to get to the front leg. This is going to pop it open. And we're in a good position here. But as I've talked about with the front side and the glove side, you need to be able to brace all of this energy, right? Right here with the front leg and the glove side, okay? And then all of this energy has to be directed toward the target into linear energy. And so I know I threw a lot at you guys, and just to recap, don't think about rotation as in, oh, I want to create this, I want to create that, because in that case it will just become slow. Hip to shoulder separation is about how well you time it and how explosive it is, rather than how much you get, okay? And so think more about, okay, I'm just trying to get to my front leg, because just by doing this action, your hips are going to rotate naturally, right? And then if you have a good block, then that's going to do the rest. It's just going to pop everything open and you're going to be in a good position to fire. Now, the last part to this is converting this rotational energy and the separation that you created in this oblique sling, right? All of this is connected, right? You're creating a deep stretch right here, and then you want to turn it into linear momentum through having a really good front side block and everything like that. And so that's kind of what I think about with hip to shoulder separation and creating separation to throw at an elite level with the mid-90s and beyond, even throw 100 miles an hour.